Professor, please go ahead, sir.
Okay.
Can you see it now?
Yes, I can see it in my screen.
All right, sir.
Alhamdulillah, wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. In the beginning, we thank Almighty Allah for making us who we are, believers in Him and in His Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. May the peace and blessings of Allah continue to be on our noble prophet, the messenger of Allah, all of his companions, members of his household, and whoever follows their footsteps until the day of resurrection. Ameen. My dear brothers and sisters, members of today's audience, I say unto you all, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Let me begin by saying this. You see, what we have witnessed this morning is a perfect manifestation of the issue we are to discuss. Those who invented cryptocurrency, they are actually trying to run away from being regulated. And what we have just seen this morning is an offshoot of over-regulation of today's lecture. You have decapacitated the abilities of participants to unmute. You have decapacitated their ability to even start their own video. So this is a manifestation of what led into the birth of cryptocurrency in the first place. People want to be free. They don't want to be over-regulated. So it's a perfect example of what we are going to discuss. Having said that, I think I'm being heard.
Yes, sir. We are following you, sir. We over-regulated this meeting. We are following you, sir.
That's exactly what happened this morning. You over-regulated, and this is what the inventors of cryptocurrency, they did not want that. They didn't want somebody to be regulating them. Now, having said this, I need to say a word or two to commend the organizers of today's event. The two parties put together. I want to let this one be on record that you've actually earned my respect for your behavior. Our audience might not know, but I must tell them this. The two of you invited me separately. In fact, you did not even know each other. You were not aware of each other's invitation for me. But when I received your invitations and I saw that it is the same theme, the same topic that both of you wanted me to come and discuss, then I told you, go and collaborate, go and cooperate with one another and organize an event that will be beneficial to the Ummah. And this is exactly what you have done. I must say this because I want to see more and more people in the Muslim Ummah having the same mentality. It doesn't matter who does what. What matters to us is what result are we getting. And I pray to Almighty Allah that He will reward you handsomely and abundantly, the two parties, for what you have done. And I want you to keep doing the same thing. Cooperate with one another, collaborate with one another. What matters is getting the result. It doesn't matter whether it is party A that organizes the lecture or party B that organizes the program. But if we can have collaboration and cooperation that will give us a better result, I think we are far, far better off as a Muslim Ummah. I'm still on the introduction. When you asked me to come and talk about cryptocurrency, I hesitated in the beginning because I thought I said to myself, of all the issues of all the topics that must be of concern to the Muslim Ummah, these gentlemen and women are actually calling me to come and discuss cryptocurrency. Does discussing cryptocurrency deserve such an attention? I must be sincere with you. That was the initial question that I asked myself. But in answering that question, and that is why I'm here this morning, I also answered that question myself in 3 different ways that show clearly, and I'm going to share those perspectives with you, that show clearly that today's program, today's topic, today's lecture is actually very important to the Muslim Ummah, particularly all over the world, but particularly in Nigeria. Reason number 1, the issue of cryptocurrency has resulted in a lot of confusion. Confusion at the legal and regulatory level, and even confusion at the Sharia level. You can go back to the title screen. We are still on the introduction. I have not yet started going through my slides. Moderator, go back. Okay. I said the first way that we can see the importance of today's lecture is because of the confusion that we have all over the world in relation to cryptocurrency. Legal confusion, regulatory confusion, and unfortunately even in quote, Sharia confusion. What do I mean by all this? When you hear of a country like Nigeria, last month in February, the Central Bank of Nigeria came up with a regulatory requirement to all banks in Nigeria that it has become illegal to facilitate payment through cryptocurrencies in any transaction in Nigeria. So that is the position of a country like Nigeria. But if I must tell you, another country like the United States of America, even America has holdings, crypto holdings up till today. And today is 27th of March. By next tomorrow, on 29th of March, America has already announced that it is going to auction to sell some of its crypto holdings to members of the public. So where are we heading? A country is prohibiting and another country is legalizing, and even buying and selling a country as big, as important as the United States of America. On 29th of this month, that is the day after tomorrow, it is going to even auction a number of its cryptocurrency holdings to members of the public. So we have that confusion, even at the legal and regulatory level. Even at the Sharia level, we are not left out. Countries, Muslim countries like Egypt, like Turkey, the Sharia authorities in both countries have issued fatwa to declare cryptocurrency as haram. In Egypt and Turkey, 2 prominent Muslim countries for that matter. The Sharia authorities in those 2 countries have declared cryptocurrency to be haram, that you shouldn't trade in cryptocurrency. Now, when you look back at the other country, also a predominantly Muslim country and a very important one, especially when we talk in terms of the financial services, Islamic financial services. Bahrain will always come either first or second in these columns. Bahrain as a country is not only saying cryptocurrency is halal, but it has announced recently that it is going to even issue a Sharia compliant cryptocurrency. So where are we going? Just as we saw it at the legal and regulatory level, we are still seeing the same confusion even at the Sharia level. A Sharia authority in a country declaring the same cryptocurrency as haram, while in another country it is being declared as halal. The same thing that I said about Bahrain is also true about United Arab Emirates, precisely in Dubai. So we have that confusion. That is part of what convinced me that I should honor your invitation to come and talk to the entire Muslim Ummah from the Islamic perspective, Islamic law perspective of cryptocurrency. So I said in 3 ways. That's just the first one. The second one that led me into thinking that, oh, what these organizers are calling me for deserves my attention and invite the attention of the entire Muslim Ummah, is about the size of the cryptocurrency market itself. One of those cryptocurrencies, because we have many currencies, cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin happens to be the most popular, the most famous among people. If I should tell you that Bitcoin alone has a market capitalization of $1 trillion as of today. So you are talking of a very big, a very huge market. Market capitalization of Bitcoin as a single unit, just one unit of cryptocurrencies, is in the region of $1 trillion. That's a very huge amount of money that it will be difficult to say or to tell Muslims to close their eyes and not to look in that direction. It will be very difficult unless you have a very strong reason for saying so. So this is the reason number two why I thought, really, I agreed with the organizers that yes, we should come and discuss cryptocurrency from the Islamic perspective. The third and final reason why I agreed to be here this morning is because we are talking from Nigeria. I know we have participants from all over the world, but the organizers are based in Nigeria, and I want to believe that majority or perhaps a large percentage of our audience today will be from Nigeria. Cryptocurrency in Nigeria is of a very special importance. Today, Nigeria is not just the largest economy in Africa. It is also the house for the biggest market of cryptocurrency in Africa. The biggest cryptocurrency market on the continent of Africa is here in Nigeria. Not only that, in fact, globally, in year 2020, when a study was carried out to look at the trading volumes of cryptocurrencies in the world, Nigeria actually ranked third in the world. Just coming only after United States of America and Russia. Nigeria was placed number 3 in the whole world. It means cryptocurrency is very, very significant to us in Nigeria. We have the biggest market on the continent, and we are even ranking number 3 in the world in terms of trading and investment in the cryptocurrency market. So I think with those 3 reasons, you will agree with me that, yes, we have a very good ground of coming to discuss cryptocurrency from an Islamic law perspective. Before I move on, I said Nigeria is the biggest market today in Africa and ranking number 3 in the world. That should be a source of concern, not just Sharia concern, but I think there is a strong need for us as a nation to assess the immediate and remote implication of this economically on our economy. If Nigeria is ranking number 3, we are not ranking even number 20 in terms of the sizes of economy in the world. But how come we are number 3 in terms of trading in and investing in cryptocurrency? That should have both remote and immediate implications to any country's economy. And I want to call on our economists in Nigeria, Muslims and non-Muslims alike, that they should actually look critically into that and advise the relevant authorities accordingly. My brothers and sisters in Islam, are we still together?
Yes, we are with you, sir. We are following.
Now yes. we can start displaying the slides. Let's go to slide number 1 now. So that was just an introductory message that I have for you. Now we can start sharing the screen, sharing the slide with my audience. When we are talking of cryptocurrency, no doubt we are talking about money. And that is what will take me into looking at the historical development of money. How did we come to this stage of having money? You know, in the beginning, in the primitive era, there was no money. But what people used to transact businesses among themselves is what is known as trade by barter. You have a commodity and you need another commodity. You bring your commodity to market to exchange with the commodity that you are actually looking for. But that could not sustain a high volume of business or commercial transactions. So that was the reason why there was invention in the first place of money, that we need money as a medium of exchange, not always bringing commodities to market to exchange by way of trade by barter. So in the beginning, what humanity discovered was commodity money. Commodity money as in gold and silver. Gold and silver were used even at the beginning of the Islamic era. During the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the currencies were based on gold and silver. So gold and silver are regarded as commodity money from the economic perspective, meaning that they have what we call intrinsic value. It's not just a value that is written on a paper, but the gold itself has its value, the silver itself has the value, that if you choose, you can even sell it as a commodity. You can use it as a currency, but at the same time, you can even sell it as a commodity because there is what we call an intrinsic value in the gold and as well as in the silver. Later on, humanity moved away from commodity money to what we call fiat money. And up till today, what we are still using in the whole world is fiat money, meaning that currencies that have no intrinsic value. The naira that you hold, the dollar that you hold is a mere paper. They will write 20 on one, 100 on another, 1,000 on the third one, but they are all papers. There are no intrinsic values attached to those papers. You cannot take this paper and sell it. You can only use it as a medium of instruction, as a medium of exchange, sorry. So this is what we call fiat money. Fiat money, simply put, is only gaining acceptance based on the full faith, and credit of the issuing authority. If Nigeria issues it naira, it's not because Nigeria has something to back it up as a commodity. In the beginning, let me say this, at the inception of fiat money, they thought of having underlying asset for every currency. United States of America, the dollars in America was based on gold. Real in Saudi Arabia was based on silver. So you can only issue dollars or reals only to the tune of your holdings in terms of gold and silver. But as in the 70s of the last century, in the 1970s of the last century, America decided that it will not abide by issuing currencies based on what it holds of gold again. It will issue currencies as far as the country thinks it needs to issue. So that actually brought to an end the issue of linking or tying fiat money to commodities like in gold and silver. So what we have up till today, like I told you, they are mere papers. They are mere papers. But because they are being issued by government, by authorities, they gain acceptance, wide acceptance all over the world. So all of a sudden, just about 12, 13 years ago, not so long, about just 12, 13 years ago, another money evolved. Another form of money evolved. And that is what we are going to discuss today. Look at how I described it here. I described it as mathematics-based money. And that is the truth. Cryptocurrency and other virtual currencies, they are actually mathematics-based. It's a money that you will only get if you are able to solve very complex mathematical equations. We shall come to that later, inshallah ta'ala. So this is what we have in the evolution or revolution of money as far as human beings are concerned. It started from commodity money, moved to fiat money, and today we are having mathematics-based money. Money coming from mathematical equations, very complex equations. The next slide, moderator. Now, what is a cryptocurrency? What is a cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency falls in the class of what we call virtual currencies. And alhamdulillah, it will be easy for you to assimilate this concept. Which kind of meeting are we having now? Which kind of lecture? Mr. Moderator, can you answer me?
It's a virtual one, sir.
It's a virtual lecture. Yes. What we used to have before pandemic, before COVID-19 pandemic, was physical lecture. Before you can have me talk to you this way, you must have invited me to come to either Ibadan or Lagos.
Yes.
Or anywhere in the world. So that is physical.
Or we come and meet you in Ilorin.
Or come and meet me in Ilorin. Thank you very much. Yes, now, what we used to have, whether it is fiat money or commodity money, they are physical currencies that you can see, you can hold. They are physical. But this cryptocurrency, it's nowhere to be found. You can never hold it. You can never see it. You can only see picture as a symbol for it. But it is actually a virtual currency. I want us to take note of that one. As different from physical currencies that you have been having, cryptocurrency is a virtual currency. So we need to know what is the definition of a virtual currency. And I've chosen to quote here the definition as given by the European Banking Authority. That's a very reliable source. EBA, European Banking Authority, defined virtual currency as a digital representation of value that is neither issued by a central bank or a public authority, nor necessarily attached to a fiat currency, but is accepted by natural or legal persons as a means of payment and can be transferred, stored, or traded electronically. So that was the definition of a virtual currency as given by the European Banking Authority precisely in 2014. But in 2016, another European institution, a very strong one in the financial sector too, the European Central Bank had a slightly different opinion from what European Banking Authority gave as the definition of a virtual currency. Look at what the European Central Bank had to say in 2016. Given that virtual currencies are not in fact currencies. Virtual currencies, according to the ECB, the European Central Bank, they are not currencies. And this should be underlined because this is part of what will form the basis, the Sharia basis of our judgment on whether to trade in or not to trade in cryptocurrency. So this is coming from the European Central Bank that they are not currencies. It will be more accurate to regard them as a means of exchange rather than as a means of payment. ECB does not agree with European Banking Authority. It does not agree with it in the sense that while European Banking Authority describes virtual currency, cryptocurrency, and the rest as a means of exchange, he said it's preferable to be referred to as just a means of payment. What does that imply? The implication of this one is both political and legal. What ECB is saying in commenting on the definition given by EBA has no practical implication, economic implication. It's just a legal or political matter. Why? Look at what ECB said. Can we go to the next slide? Because I don't want us to take it at the back of our mind that, oh, even European Central Bank is saying cryptocurrency is not a currency. It's actually a political statement. It has a legal connotation. Why? Look at what they say, what that ECB says further. It says, from the perspective of the Union, the European Union, it says, according to the treaties and the provisions of Council Regulation EC number 974/98, the euro is the single currency of the Union's economic and monetary union. So actually, like I told you, this is just a mere political statement, but it has its own legal connotation. What ECB is drawing EBA's attention to is that for you to call any other currency, be it cryptocurrency or any other one, for you to qualify it as a means of exchange, as a currency, you need to change the law. You need to change the European Union's law, because according to the extant law of the European Union, the euro is the single currency recognized in the Union. So I want you to please note that when European Central Bank says cryptocurrency or virtual currency, it's not a currency. It doesn't have any commercial, any economic, and even any Sharia implication, but it does have significant political and legal implication, like I said in the beginning. Please give me 1 minute.
So we're just going to give Prof about 1 minute. Okay, Prof is back.
Yes. Alhamdulillah. Sorry, because I'm in the house, so the children needed my attention, so I had to pause and give them the required attention. I'm sorry for that.
Okay.
Can we move on?
Yes, we're on slide 5 or slide 6.
Yes. So that is just about that, for us to note the legal, the political connotation of what the ECB is actually saying. Now, simply put, let's now go to a very simple, not complex definition. You would like to know what is actually cryptocurrency that we want to discuss. Cryptocurrency, simply put, cryptocurrencies are digital or virtual currencies that are encrypted or secured using cryptography. Cryptography is a technology which simply means computerized encoding and decoding of information. This is what cryptocurrency is all about. They are all about codes that need somebody to encode and another one to decode. So that is why, you know, the name is even coming from that technology. The technology is called cryptography, and what emanates from it is called cryptocurrency. So simply put, cryptocurrency is a digital or a virtual currency that is encrypted using cryptography, and it can be stored, it can be created, it can even be traded electronically. So I think with this, we must have had adequate insight about what exactly is cryptocurrency before we move to the next level of our discussion. Now, at this point, I need to mention a very important thing. When you mention cryptocurrency to an average person today, his or her mind goes to what? Goes to Bitcoin. Isn't it true, Mr. Moderator?
Yes, sir. It's Bitcoin that comes to mind first.
Yes, if you mention cryptocurrency to an average man or woman anywhere in the world, the mind goes to Bitcoin. But I must tell you, we have hundreds, not tens, hundreds of cryptocurrencies in the world. We have them in hundreds. But why is Bitcoin so popular? Yet it deserves it, because Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency in the world. The first cryptocurrency to be invented in the world is Bitcoin. And in fact, as I call it in this slide, I even refer to Bitcoin as the king of all cryptocurrencies. From any angle that you look at it, You see, I told you earlier on that the market capitalization of Bitcoin is $1 trillion today. The closest one of all other cryptocurrencies, I think, is Ethereum, will be just in the range of very, very far from this figure, very far from this figure. Okay, for example, as I checked a few days ago, the current price a few days ago of one Bitcoin was 55,000 US dollars. Imagine 55,000 US dollars. The next closest one to it in terms of wealth is Ethereum, and it only costs just about less than $2,000. You can see the huge difference, less than $2,000 to $55,000. So if people are taking Bitcoin to be the representation of cryptocurrency, then they are not too wrong, because one, it was the first to be invented, it is the most popular, it is the biggest in size, and it is even the most traded. Even in terms of trade and investment, it is the most traded all over the world. Why am I saying this? Is that henceforth, after this slide, I will be narrowing my discussion to Bitcoin as a representation of other cryptocurrencies, because this time at our disposal can never be sufficient for us to talk of every single cryptocurrency and their characteristics and features before we now talk of the Sharia rule on them. It is impossible within a period of just 1 hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes. But I must assure you that Bitcoin is actually a perfect representation of all other cryptocurrencies. They are similar to Bitcoin in most of the characteristics and features. So if you understand the rule of Sharia on Bitcoin, we can equally transfer same to other cryptocurrencies.
Which slide should I move to, sir? We're on slide 6. Which slide should I move it to?
6 now, we're on 6 now.
6, okay, all right, sir.
Features of cryptocurrencies, we move quickly on that one. From the foregoing, at least from what I've explained so far, the definitions, the explanation about what is a virtual currency, a cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, we can deduce the following pieces of information. 1, cryptocurrencies are digital, fully electronic. There's no paper. Unlike fiat money that you can have both electronic and paper money. You can have your electronic money stored in your ATM card or in your credit card, in your debit card. So it's possible for fiat money to be in both forms. But as far as cryptocurrencies are concerned, they can only be digital, fully electronic. Number 2, cryptocurrencies are private. They are not issued by any government or any constituted authority. The narrative is changing gradually now. Like I told you, Bahrain has announced that it is going to issue its own Sharia compliant cryptocurrency. And I think some other countries are thinking in that direction too. But as far as we know, up till today, of all these cryptocurrencies that are in hundreds, none of them is issued, or most of them are not issued by government. Especially, like I told you, we shall be focusing on Bitcoin. Bitcoin has no any authority behind it, no government, no constituted authority behind the creation and the invention and even the trading or investment in Bitcoin as the most important cryptocurrency. Characteristic number 3, no intrinsic value. We've said that one. Commodity money has intrinsic value. Fiat money is similar to cryptocurrency in the sense that the two of them have no intrinsic value. Feature number, is it 4 or 5 now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, number 5. No physical existence. Like I told you, you can only see a big B as a symbol for a Bitcoin, but you will never see any Bitcoin being held anywhere in the world. Nobody can claim that this, what I'm holding, is a Bitcoin unit. No physical existence whatsoever. And feature number 6, which is very, very important, and it will be part of what we shall consider to arrive at the Sharia ruling on cryptocurrency. The anonymity in cryptocurrency. You see, it is possible to send, receive cryptocurrencies without giving any personally identifying information. You can hide your identity. You sell and buy in millions, in billions, and nobody will know who you are. Whether you are a responsible member of the society or even whether you are a criminal in the society. The cryptocurrency world gives you that liberty of hiding your identity. And this is one of the very important features or characteristics of cryptocurrencies. The next slide, slide number 7. The types of cryptocurrency, we won't waste time on that one. Principally, there are two types. There is what we call altcoins. Altcoins means alternative coins to Bitcoin. Like I told you, Bitcoin was the first to be invented. But other people, other engineers benefited from the same mechanism, from the same protocol used by the inventor of Bitcoin to also come up with something that can serve as alternatives to, Bitcoin. And those ones are known as altcoins. The other type of cryptocurrencies is what we call tokens. Tokens, unlike, we can, okay, let's go to the next slide so that I can give you examples of the two to make it clear. Are we on that slide, slide number 8?
Yes, we're on slide number 8.
Yes, I've already explained the first line. They are mere alternatives to Bitcoin. That is the meaning of altcoins, alternative coins. Some examples of the altcoins in circulation today are, we have Namecoin, we have Peercoin, we have Litecoin, and the rest of them. You see, all these altcoins, they are based on the same protocol, the same protocol of Bitcoin. But we have beginning to see other altcoins, alternative coins to Bitcoin also using a different protocol. And the examples of these ones in this one include, I've given examples here. Yes, the Ethereum that I said earlier on is a good example of that one. It's an altcoin, but not using the same protocol as Bitcoin protocol. We have Ripple, we have Omni, we have BitShares, we have Neo, we have Waves, and we have Counterparty. All these are examples of altcoins not using the Bitcoin protocols. The next slide, let's talk about tokens, the second major division, major type of cryptocurrencies. Simply put, tokens are just representation of an asset. It can even represent another cryptocurrency. It can even represent a fiat money. It can represent anything. It's a mere representation of any particular asset or utilities. And the most important thing I will want you to note here on this page, please, let's go to the last point on that page. It's what is important here to us, is that the majority of coins in existence today are actually tokens. They are not coins. They are not altcoins. They are not coins. Majority of what we have in circulation today that I said they are in hundreds, more than 80% of them are mere representations of another asset. Those assets, yes, can even be other cryptocurrencies. So what we have in circulation today, more than 80% are actually tokens, but not coins. But they qualified as well to be called cryptocurrencies. The next slide. The next slide. We are moving gradually because you see in Sharia, Mr. Moderator.
Yes, sir.
We cannot just begin to say this is what Sharia says unless we have a perfect or near perfect understanding of the substance. So please understand what I'm doing. I'm still going to talk extensively about the Sharia ruling, the Sharia perspective. But we don't do that in Sharia. We must have understood clearly enough an issue before we pronounce on whether it is halal or haram. But we are almost moving, we are almost there we are very close to where we shall begin to talk about Sharia. But these are also very, very important. Without our understanding of all this, what I will tell you of Sharia issue will just be like something that is a code that you will need to decode. And I don't want that one to happen to this lecture.
Understood.
Now, pardon?
Understood. Well understood.
Historical development. This is very, very important. I told you in the introductory part that we have had commodity money for centuries. We have also had fiat money, if not for century, but close to at least half of a century now, especially fiat money that have no intrinsic value, beginning from the 70s of the last century. But do you know that the entire age, lifespan, the entire age of cryptocurrencies that all of the world are just talking about, all over the world, people are just talking about, is not even up to 15 years. Not even up to 15 years. And this is the historical development. It was in 2008 that Bitcoin as the first cryptocurrency was invented. It was in 2008, and it was invented by an unknown person. Please underline that one. This is also part of what we shall consider to know the Sharia stand, the Sharia position on cryptocurrency. We don't even know up till today the true identity of the creator or inventor of cryptocurrency. It was released under a fake name or pseudonym, Satoshi Nakamoto. But with all the technology, with all the advancement in the world of looking at people's identity, no country in the world has been able to know who exactly was this Satoshi Nakamoto up till today. So he was the inventor. He was communicating with people on the internet, discussing the protocols, the technology that led into his discovery of this new currency. But what I want you to note here is that even the inventor himself is not known up till today, but the name is known. The name is Satoshi Nakamoto. In fact, some people believe that Satoshi Nakamoto may not be the name of a single individual. It may be a name of a group of people, but that is apart. Let's move on. It was invented in 2008. That's how many years ago, Mr. Moderator? I said less than 15, but let's be precise. Today, this 2021, 2008 to 2021.
That's 13 years.
That's just how many years? 13 years.
13 years. Yes,
precisely 13 years, yes. So 13 years ago. The invention came in 2008, but the technology was not released until 2009. It began the invention in 2008, but released to the public first in 2009 as an open source software. The next stage of development in cryptocurrency is when was the first cryptocurrency successively transferred from somebody to another. You know, Satoshi Nakamoto invented it, released it as a software, but at a particular point, when did we begin to see that a Bitcoin moves from one person to another? That also happened in 2009. The first ever Bitcoin was transferred from Nakamoto himself to another engineer. That one is known, it's now late. Hal Finney, a citizen of the United States of America, is now late, was the first person to receive that digital currency on the internet successively from Satoshi Nakamoto in 2009. But the biggest development in cryptocurrency and in Bitcoin precisely happened in 2010. You know, when they were still transferring, Nakamoto transferring Bitcoin to Hal Finney, There was no commercial transaction. Nothing was bought, nothing was sold. But in 2010, through the same technology, using the same blockchain technology that was invented by Nakamoto, another man with the name Laszlo Anyech, I don't know whether it is correctly pronounced, it's not an English nor Arabic name. Those are the two languages that I'm familiar with. But it's on the screen. Laszlo Anyech bought 2 pizzas in 2010 and he paid 10,000 Bitcoin. 10,000 Bitcoin for those 2 pizzas. Moderator, I know you are in Saudi Arabia. Pizzas are very popular over there. I think the cost of 2 pizzas in Saudi today must be between maybe 10 to 20. It can be more than that. Am I correct?
Yes, you are correct.
Okay. So, but imagine for him to be able to purchase those 2 pizzas in those days, he paid 10,000 Bitcoins. Do you know, practically, let us analyze that one. If 2 pizzas will cost 10 US dollars, it should be around that range now, even in the US. Around $10 will buy you 2 pizzas. If $10,000, 10,000 Bitcoins were paid to get 2, it means 5,000 went for a pizza. Are you getting me?
Yes.
It means 5,000 each for a pizza. And a pizza costs just $5. What that implies is that he paid 1,000 Bitcoin for just $1 US. That is the implication. If he paid, and that is exactly what happened, he paid 5,000 Bitcoins for just 1 pizza. And let us assume that is the range. You can, with your US dollars, $5 US, you can buy pizza. It means 5,000 went for a pizza. It means 1,000 Bitcoin was equivalent to just one US dollar. I'm not saying 1,000, just $1 US was worth 10,000 Bitcoin. But look at what we have today. The reverse is the case now. 1 Bitcoin is equal to 55,000 US dollars. Not even 1,000, not even 2,000. So you can see the phenomenal growth in the wealth and in the market of cryptocurrency. And with this, you will understand why it will be difficult to just tell people don't go and trade in cryptocurrency. If something can move at such a phenomenal rate from just being 1,000 Bitcoin to $1 US, and within a short period of just 13 years, it becomes 1 Bitcoin, not 10,000, not 1,000, just 1 is equal to 55,000 US dollars today. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. So the last statement, I think I've talked about that one. Nakamoto's identity, real name, and even nationality remain unknown up till today. Although in some of his communications with people before 2010, he claimed to be a Japanese, but people are doubting that today. Because how could a Japanese come up with a currency, a cryptocurrency?
I think your voice is gone, or is it me?
You can't hear me again?
We can still follow you, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
I said his identity, real name, and even nationality, they are all in doubt. He claimed to be Japanese, but people are even pointing at some elements of doubt in that one because he invented the cryptocurrency and gave it a symbol, not in a Japanese
letter. If you're hearing us, I
but
think your voice is gone.
Hello?
Dr. Maruf, I think it's from your side. I can still hear proof. Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
Can I continue?
So his identity, you are talking about his identity.
Yes, I said he claimed to be a Japanese, and the name sounds like a Japanese name, but people are doubting even that one by saying, how come he did not give a Japanese letter to be the symbol of that cryptocurrency, but use actually a Latin letter, a big B, to be the representation or symbol of the cryptocurrency that he invented. Anyway, by the way, what is most important at this point is to note that Nakamoto, whether it was a single individual or a group of people, disappeared since December 2010. Nobody has of him or her or them up till today from December 2010. And that should be a major source of concern economically, legally, and even Sharia-wise. The next one. Okay, we have just 2 slides more before we move to the Sharia talk. The key concept, I've talked about various aspects of cryptocurrency, but there are other concepts that I've not mentioned, and I would like to mention them quickly because we will need them when we come to talk about the Sharia issues. 1, blockchain technology. What is blockchain? Cryptocurrency relies 100% on a particular technology, and that technology is known as blockchain technology. It means a digital ledger. It's just a record of transactions like a ledger, but it's a digital one. That's first. Secondly, it is distributed. It is duplicated to all members of the network. No matter how big the number is, you will have the same copy of that ledger with you. And that is what makes cryptocurrency, it's difficult, very, very difficult, if not impossible, for any record of transaction on cryptocurrency to be changed, to be reversed, or even to be hacked. It's not easy. Some people are saying it's not easy to hack record on blockchain technology the way it is structured. In fact, some of the engineers said in only one case, it may be possible for it to be hacked. If more than 50% of the participants connived to defraud the entire world, more than 50% of them, and that even is not even conceivable, is unimaginable, because this is a decentralized, totally decentralized. You may not even know where you are, where others are. So that is why it is not true to say that, oh, people may tomorrow steal all your money, all the money on cryptocurrency. But we are still coming to that when we talk of the Sharia issues. Another concept that we have not spoken of, peer-to-peer. That is also very important. It means this is what set cryptocurrency apart from other forms of money or currencies. When you want to transfer money, fiat money, for example, you want to transfer Naira to the United States of America, you need an intermediary. You need a banking authority, a bank to intermediate between the two of you. In cryptocurrency, you don't need any intermediary. It's peer-to-peer. They deal with each other directly without any central authority, not even a central server on the internet. Every client in that network can be a server on its own, no intermediary whatsoever. Concept number 3, mining. You know, when we hear about mining, our mind should go to mineral resources. But when we talk about mining in cryptocurrency world, is another word for minting or printing. Fiat money is either printed or minted. Either way, you put it the way you like. That's why in Nigeria, we have security and minting company to print and mint currencies for us. I told you there is no physical existence for cryptocurrency. There is nothing to be minted. There's nothing to be printed. But how do we have more and more cryptocurrencies? Is through a process, a computer process known as mining to them. And what mining means, simply put, is that they will, for every transaction to be confirmed, for every transaction to be validated on the network, on the protocol, blockchain technology, people will have to solve very complex mathematical equations or algorithms. And the first person that will succeed in solving that equation to actually say this is a genuine transaction will be rewarded with a new Bitcoin. Is that one understood?
It's not. It's
okay. Let me come again. I said mining is another word for minting or printing that we are used to in fiat money. when you have, like in Nigeria, print security and printing. If you want to print Naira, you go to security and printing and minting company. But if you have 1,000 Bitcoin today, how can we produce 1,001, the other one that will increase in the number of Bitcoin? How do we come about it? This is the process known as mining. And how does it happen? When we have a new transaction in the blockchain technology, there is a need for all of us, they call it consensus mechanism, all of us on that network, we must have the same ledger. That is why it is called distributed and duplicated digital ledger. Now, I will be working towards confirming it, validating it, authenticating it. You will be working. All of us in the entire world, in that network, if you are in that network, then whoever solves that equation first, because authenticating and validating transactions in the blockchain technology simply means you must be able to solve very complex mathematical equations. So if you are the first to be able to solve that equation, to bring a solution to that complex problem mathematically, then you have a reward. And that reward is that a new Bitcoin will be created. A new Bitcoin will be created. That is the meaning of mining. And it will be a reward for whoever was the first to solve that complex mathematical equation. I think it's clear now.
Yes, yes. We will ask questions later.
No problem. Still on mining, we have two other concepts that are closely related. You will hear of proof of work or proof of stake. We shall talk about that one from the Sharia angle. But what is the concept? Proof of work is what I've just described to you now, that all of us will work, but who can prove that it is my work that produced the desired result will earn the reward. And the reward is a new Bitcoin to be created, which will belong to that man or woman. Now, this was what Satoshi Nakamoto used in bringing out new currencies. This is how he planned it, that for any new currency to be created, you must all participate in solving a complex mathematical equation, and whoever solves this first will be rewarded with a new Bitcoin. A new coin is created. But they discovered that this proof of work mechanism is actually good, but it has its own deficiencies too. One of its deficiencies is that it's relatively slow. It's relatively slow. The time that it takes for those on the network to have a solution to the mathematical problem, it takes a lot of time. That is one. It consumes a very high amount of electricity. That's it. Proof of work, one of its major challenges is in the amount of electricity that it consumes. You know, it is not ordinary computer that can solve these equations. Let me say that clearly. It must be very powerful and specially made computers that can do that today. And they consume very high amount of electricity. In fact, let me put it in a figure. In a study that I read, it was estimated that for a single proof of work transaction to be successful in mining process in cryptocurrency, the amount of electricity that will be needed, that will be consumed, is enough to power more than 31 households for a full day, 24 hours. Where? In the United States of America. What will be sufficient to power a household, not just one, more than 31 households in US for that matter, where they have 24 hours electricity. It means when we come to other countries like in Africa, it may power hundreds of houses. So all these electricity will be used in just one single transaction if we are to continue to use proof of work as a process of mining. And that is what led into another invention known as proof of stake. In proof of stake, you consume less electricity. It is also faster than proof of work. But the problem here, and that is what brings the Sharia issue in relation to this one, is that proof of stake, you must take money. You must have a stake. And it depends on the amount of money that you stake. The higher the amount of money that you stake, the bigger your chances of being the one that is going to be rewarded for mining a new Bitcoin or a new cryptocurrency. So that is just about that one. I've explained all this one. Their consensus mechanism, proof of stake is faster and consumes less electricity. That is the beauty of proof of stake as against the initial proof of work that was introduced and invented by Satoshi Nakamoto. The last one, the last concept that I must also speak about before we move proper to the Sharia issues is the issue of double spending. The issue of double spending. For many years, double spending was a nagging problem in digital currency generally, digital or virtual currencies. A major problem with it originally is what we call double spending. You know, when you are dealing with fiat money, you have your 1,000 Naira note or your $100 US dollar note. The moment you spend it, you know, it moves from you to maybe the buyer or the seller, sorry. When you buy something using your note, 100 US dollar note, you will have to transfer that note to another man. And for that reason, it becomes impossible for you to spend the same note again. You cannot spend it twice. Are you with me?
Yes, we are with you, sir. So we cannot.
So it's not possible in fiat money to have double spending, but that is very, very possible in digital space, in virtual currencies. If you are fraudulent, you can devise a way of spending one single coin several times. One single coin you spend, because it's all digital. It's all, you know what's called digital is all in numbers, all in figures. There's nothing concrete that you can hold, that you can transfer. So it was a nagging problem, like I said, until when, again, Satoshi Nakamoto, I want to be sure I'm not mispronouncing the name, Satoshi Nakamoto, yes. Satoshi Nakamoto was the man or the group of men that brought for us the solution to double spending. With blockchain technology introduced by Nakamoto, it becomes impossible for anyone to spend a single coin more than once. Because blockchain technology, like I told you, is a digital ledger, is distributed, is duplicated, is decentralized. Everybody will have access to it to know that you have spent this and you can never respend it again. So this is part of the beauties, part of the great inventions introduced by Nakamoto. He solved a very serious problem in the digital currency world, and that is the problem of double spending. On this note, we will move to the Sharia issues. The next slide. And I must ask, how many minutes do we have left?
Professor, we plan to end it before Zuru at most, plus question and answer.
Okay.
So now we are
but
on
I'm having a meeting immediately after Zuru too, so it cannot be extended.
It cannot be extended beyond.
So let's see what we can do. But here, this is the point we want to conclude on. Yes. And this is the most important aspect of our lecture today, yes, is to tell you, or is to tell the audience what is the Sharia, what are the Sharia issues in cryptocurrencies. I have classified those issues into three major areas. One, Sharia issues in trading and investment in cryptocurrencies. Two, Sharia issues in mining that I've just explained to you. You can see why I had to explain all those concepts, because we shall be talking about the Sharia issues relating to them. Alhamdulillah, we have understood mining and the process of mining and the protocols of mining. So it's be easy for us to understand the Sharia ruling in relation to all that. Then number three major area is using cryptocurrency as a means of payment in a payment system. You are not trading in cryptocurrency. You are not buying or selling cryptocurrency, but a company or an institution says, I will only take cryptocurrencies. It's happening in the world today. Some people are selling tickets. Some people are, even school fees. A university may decide that henceforth, I'm not going to take but only cryptocurrencies. What is the Sharia ruling in relation to that one? So those are the three major areas that I have divided the Sharia issues in cryptocurrencies too. May Allah be with us. So let's begin with the first one, which is the most important one. I know majority of my audience today, this is your major area of concern, trading and investment in cryptocurrencies. In fact, I don't think there are Nigerians who are involved in mining, but I want Nigerians, if it is halal, why can't you go into mining too? You know, when you mine successively, look at the implication. With every successful mining process, you gain a Bitcoin in Bitcoin world. A Bitcoin today is an equivalent of 55,000 US dollars. Do you know what that translates to in Naira? More than 26 million Naira. So if you mine one Bitcoin today, you mine another, so you'll be gathering a lot of money if it is halal. If it is halal, as we are coming to that. So it's a very important matter that we must address. Now let's begin with trading and investment in cryptocurrencies. We have in the world today two juristic opinions. Opinions of scholars are divided on whether it is halal or haram to trade in or to invest in cryptocurrencies, meaning that to buy cryptocurrency today and sell the next day or the next hour or the next minute. This is what we mean by trading and investment in cryptocurrency. And this is what majority of people in the world trading in cryptocurrency in the world, this is what they do. This is what they do. The issue of mining to a very limited number of people, the issue of payment also to a very limited number of people and institutions. Now we have two major opinions. The first one is that trading and investment in cryptocurrencies is haram. And this is mainly, please note the difference. I've studied where those fatwas are coming from. And my conclusion is that it has an implication too. Majority of those declaring cryptocurrency as being haram, they represent official or constituted authorities or governments. The fatwa declaring crypto as haram is mainly coming from official iftar bodies. For example, the official Sharia authority in Egypt, the official iftar Sharia authority in Turkey, the official Sharia authority in Palestine. All of these authorities, formal official authorities, have declared trading and investment in trading in cryptocurrencies as haram. The second opinion, trading, investing in cryptocurrencies are all halal. It's halal to trade in cryptocurrencies. But look at the difference. I've studied these fatwas too and discovered that they are mainly coming from individual jurists, not from institutions. For example, and they are respected and well-known jurists in the world today. For example, we have our teacher, Professor Ali Al-Gharri from Saudi Arabia. We have Dr. Daoud Bakar, who is also our senior in the industry, is today the chairman of the Sharia Advisory Council to the Central Bank of Malaysia. Dr. Daoud Bakar is a well-known authority in the field too. And like I said, he's even our senior in the industry in Malaysia. We have a friend and also a senior in the field, in the industry, Dr. Abdulbari Mishal, who is today the director of the Islamic Economic Forum that has as members almost major players in Islamic financial industry today. Alhamdulillah, I'm also a member of that forum. And Dr. Abdul Bari is the director, is the head of the forum presently. He is based in United States of America. And finally, Mufti Abu Bakr in South Africa. You can see this fatwa of halal. I've not seen a single official body issuing a fatwa to say dealing in cryptocurrency is halal. All what we have seen up till today from iftar bodies that are formal, that are official, is that cryptocurrency dealing or trading in them is haram. And finally, the International Islamic Fiqh Academy. That is the highest body today when it comes to pronouncing on Sharia matters, particularly on financial issues. It is International Islamic Fiqh Academy based in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Unfortunately, up till this moment, International Academy has not issued any resolution. It continues to postpone issuance of resolution on cryptocurrency, even though it has organized seminars. But that is the mode of operation of Islamic Fiqh Academy. It takes its time, listening to people, invite experts, invite Sharia experts, all over the economic experts, before arriving at a resolution. And I think by the time it arrives at a resolution, its resolution will be respected by all over the world. That is a known standard. Whenever IFA pronounces on something, but we must have why it must take its time issue any resolution to that effect. Are we still together?
We're still together, sir.
Okay. And I must say, this is a very good news. Today, as Africans, we must be proud of one of us, Professor Kutub Muhammad Sano is now the CEO, the Secretary General of the International Islamic Fiqh Academy, which today is the highest body, like I said, in the Muslim world to pronounce on any contemporary matter. It is today the Secretary General today, that is the CEO, the man running day-to-day affair of the academy, is Professor Muhammad Kutub Sano from Guinea-Conakry. Is our senior too, is a brother, and we are really proud of him of the achievement. He was formerly a minister in his country, a formerly deputy vice chancellor in faraway Malaysia, Islamic University of Malaysia, and many other posts that he has held. May Allah continue to be with him. So let's begin the analysis now. Don't forget, I said I've categorized them into three. The first one is trading. The second one is mining. And the third one is using cryptocurrency as a means of payment. Now let's to the first one. Trading in cryptos is halal. This is the first view. Trading in cryptos is halal. Why? That is the question. This view is actually based on two different approaches. Even those who are declaring it to be halal, like I told you, mainly individual respected jurists in different parts of the world. But I've discovered that they have different approaches to this issue. One, some of them are saying cryptocurrencies are halal because they are currencies, Closely related to this is those who do not want to call cryptocurrencies, they don't want to call them currencies, but they prefer to use the word means of exchange. They said it's only when cryptocurrency is recognized by a government, like in the United States of America, like in Dubai and UAE, for example, then it becomes a currency. But from the Sharia perspective, there is no difference in the two perspectives here, in the two positions. Whether you call it currencies or you call it means of exchange, in terms of Sharia ruling, they will take the same ruling, as we shall talk about that one shortly. So this is the first approach. The other approach, still under those who declare cryptos as halal, they say it's halal, they are halal because they are not even currencies. They are not even currencies. They are digital assets. And an asset can be sold and bought depending on the demand and supply element in any market. So the price may go up and come down based on supply and demand as the two factors dictating what the price of any commodity will be in any given market. So these are the two approaches of jurists declaring trading in cryptocurrencies as being halal. Now we shall discuss all this in the following slides. Cryptos are currencies. The next slide. The next slide, slide number 16. Yes. Those who say cryptos are currencies and they are therefore halal, because just as you can exchange your dollar with naira, or your dollar with real, or your dollar with pound sterling, you can equally exchange your cryptocurrency, your Bitcoin with Ethereum, with Ripple, with any other coin for that matter. Why? They said, one, this is their justification. Because they said we look at cryptocurrencies, the features, the characteristics of cryptocurrencies, and we have come to a conclusion that they all have all features, all characteristics of a currency in Islam. What are the characteristics? What are the features of a currency? A currency must be a medium of exchange. A currency must be a unit of account, and a currency must be a store of value. They said all these three are available in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. They are therefore currencies, and trading in them will take the same rule as trading in dollars, in real, in naira, and the rest of them, because they have all features, all elements and characteristics of a currency. Now, following that directly, flowing from that immediately, is that the rule of exchange must therefore apply. If we say they are currencies, we have rules of currency exchange in Sharia, which we call as-sarf. What are those rules? They are principally two rules that govern trading in foreign exchange, in exchanging a particular currency with another. According to an authentic hadith that I quoted here, as reported or narrated by Ubadah ibn Samit radiyallahu anhu, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الذهب بالذهب والفضة بالفضة والبر بالبر والشعير بالشعير والتمر بالتمر والملح بالملح مثلا بمثل سواء بسواء يدا بيد فإذا اختلفت هذه الأصناف فبيعوا كيف شئتم إذا كان يدا بيد. Let me summarize the provision of this hadith for you, my audience. And these are the two, like I said, the two rules governing trading in any foreign exchange, where you will have to exchange a currency with another. Mind you, because they have said we see cryptocurrencies as currencies, it has satisfied, a cryptocurrency has satisfied all requirements of being a currency. It's a medium of exchange, it's a unit of account, and it's a store of value. Now, what are those two rules? One, according to this authentic hadith, if you want to exchange currencies of the same kind, you want to exchange a dollar with a dollar, a naira with a naira, there are two rules to be followed. One, they must be exchanged at par. You cannot give an old US dollar note, 100 old note for, let's say, 99 or 98 new note. Or you cannot go to tell a bank in Nigeria that I need new note, new mints. And the bank will say, okay, for us to give you 50,000 new note, you will pay us 60,000 old, you bring your old 60,000 old note. That is haram. That is not acceptable. The same thing will go for cryptocurrency. If you want to exchange Bitcoin with Bitcoin, if you want to exchange Ethereum with Ethereum, Ripple with Ripple, and the rest of them, you want to exchange altcoin with altcoin, the same rule. You cannot exchange except if it is at par. 100 for 100, 50 for 50, 1,000 for 1,000. That is the first rule. The second rule is that yadan biyadin, and it must be on the spot. You cannot give your Bitcoin today and hoping to take my Bitcoin in exchange tomorrow or in the next week or in the next month. It has to be on the spot. So those are the two rules governing the foreign exchange market in Sharia. Now, that is when you are exchanging a particular currency with the same currency. Like I told you, dollar for dollar, naira for naira. It's not acceptable to say because this one is old, this one is new, this one has so number, this one has a different number. You have to do it at par if you are to exchange from the same form, from the same kind. But according to this hadith, فَإِذَا اخْتَلَفَتْ هَذِهِ الْأَصْنَافِ, if you are to exchange a form of currency with another form, a type of currency with another currency, you want to exchange naira with dollar, exchange pound sterling with Saudi riyal, then there is no rule of being at par. You can exchange 500 naira for a single US dollar, as is the case in Nigeria today. A US dollar worth almost 500 naira. In Sharia, that is okay because they are two different types of currencies. In this case, the only rule that is left that you must keep is the rule of on the spot. On the spot. It must be on the spot sale. You give me your dollar today and instantly I pay you my naira. You cannot deposit 1 million naira today in a bureau de change office and get a promise that you will get your dollar equivalent in the next week, in the next month. It's not acceptable from the Sharia perspective. So they are saying clearly that any rule that applies to exchange of currencies will also apply to exchange of cryptocurrencies. Simple as that, as simple as that. And anything that is prohibited in other currencies will equally be prohibited even in dealing with cryptocurrencies. Principally, the rule of riba, the rule of interest. We have two forms of prohibited interest or riba in Islam. Riba al-fadl, which means riba in exchange. This is what we have explained. You cannot take more than what you are given if they are of the same form, the same type. The riba and nasi'a is that you cannot even loan. You cannot give somebody a loan of 1,000 Bitcoin or 100 Bitcoin today with a promise that you will pay me back this 100 Bitcoin in the next 1 week, in the next 1 year, in the next 1 month, but you will pay me 110 Bitcoins. It's haram. The same way as it is haram when you loan somebody, you lend an amount of money, 1 million naira to somebody with a promise that he will pay 10% interest by the time of repayment. All are haram. All are haram. So this is the first issue or the first Sharia issue that we are through, the first leg of the first opinion. Let me remind you, this opinion is saying dealing in cryptocurrency market is halal because they are currencies. Now we move to the other approach. They said we allow trading in cryptocurrency because we do not even believe they are currencies. They are mere digital assets. And in that case, nothing stops you from selling and buying your asset or another man's, or selling your asset and buying another man's asset. As simple as that. This is the justification for allowing it based on the approach that cryptocurrencies are not even currencies. Now, they said in this case, there's no rule of sarf. The rule of exchange that we mentioned earlier on does not even apply to cryptocurrencies according to this approach because they said they are not currencies. But what will apply is the rule of commodity. And what are the rules of commodities in Sharia? 1, don't sell what you don't have. La tabi' ma laysa indaka. If you are not in possession, you don't own, you don't have an amount of cryptocurrency, Bitcoins or others, you cannot sell the same before you own. That's a rule of commodity. Another rule of commodity in Sharia is that there must be no excessive gharar, jahala, or uncertainty, meaning that the quantity that is being sold, the quality, the consideration for its sale must all be clearly spelled out. You cannot say, I will buy your Bitcoin, but I will pay a price that will be very, very pleasing to you. No, it's not acceptable. You have to tell me the price. I have to agree on the price. You have to agree on the quantity, on the quality. So these are the rules of dealing in commodities, and they opine that these are the rules that will apply to trading in cryptocurrencies, because according to them, cryptocurrencies are not even currencies. I think this is clear enough.
You, sir. We are following you, sir.
Alhamdulillah. Now, the next slide. The next slide. Moderator. Okay. No, the next one. After this one. Yes, my opinion. We've listened to the arguments, the justifications, the Sharia authorities that were used to support whether the position of those who say cryptocurrencies are currencies or they are assets. But my position, my opinion, one, the currency status of cryptos is not as simple as projected. This is the first problem with that fatwa. They simply projected cryptocurrency as any other currency. It's not true. It's not as simple as projected, and I will point at some level of discrepancies, differences between other currencies and cryptocurrencies, that you cannot just transfer every rule that we have in fiat currencies to cryptocurrencies. One, the issue of rawaj, that's a Sharia term. Rawaj simply means wide acceptance. Before anything can qualify to be a currency from the Sharia perspective, it must be widely accepted in the community, in the society of those who are dealing in that currency. It must be, the acceptance must never be restricted to a small percentage of people or to a particular location. It must be widely accepted. This may become an issue in cryptocurrency. And I want to advert the attention of our teachers who opined that cryptocurrencies are just currencies. They are not, it's not as simple as it is being projected, because the issue of reward may arise one day. Why? Now, Nigeria is prohibiting. Other countries, the last time I checked, countries like Bolivia, countries like Algeria, other countries are also introducing one or other level of prohibition. That's the truth now. So other countries are actually coming up. Not only Nigeria, other countries are coming to say no to cryptocurrency. And that will surely, if we have more and more and more countries coming to say no to cryptocurrency, it will actually affect its wide acceptance. And that is a major factor that qualifies or disqualifies something as a currency. So that should be noted. It's not as simple as saying they are currencies and we will apply all the rules of currencies to them. Just as it was in 2009, when cryptocurrency was first transferred between Hal Finney and Nashoti Nakamoto, nobody will claim that it qualified to be a currency then, because it was not widely accepted. It was just between two people. So my fear is that as we are moving on with regulations, with laws being passed in different countries, we may have more and more, most likely we may have more and more countries prohibiting and not allowing cryptocurrencies in their domains, in their jurisdictions. And that will create a problem of rawaj, that is wide acceptance of such a currency. The issue number two, that the reason why I said currency status of cryptos is not as simple as projected. It's not guaranteed. It should not be taken for granted. The second issue, the second factor is the issue of high volatility in cryptocurrency. We know how currencies behave all over the world. Even currencies that are not so strong, like some currencies in Africa, the volatility in them is not as high as what we witness today in cryptocurrency. Let me give you just one example. In September 2010, that's just 11 years ago, the worth of cryptocurrency to US dollar, the exchange rate between US dollars and crypto and Bitcoin precisely, was just 0.06, not even up to $1 US 11 years ago. A Bitcoin was not even exchanged for $1. You need multiple Bitcoin. Just as we said earlier on, that somebody bought just 2 pizzas using 10,000 Bitcoin. Now, precisely according to a study in September 2010, this same Bitcoin was 0.06 US dollar, less than $1. But today in 2021, a Bitcoin is exchanged for 55,000 US dollars. I don't know of any other currency in the world that has so behaved, that the surge will be as high, according to another researcher, that in 10 years, the surge, the increase in the price of cryptocurrencies, Bitcoins in particular, do you know how many percentage? 38 million%. We are not saying 50%, 100%, not even 1,000%, not even 1,000,000%. A currency has increased in the worth, the exchange rate, for as high as 38 million%. That is unbelievable. And that is not a true or a characteristic behavior of a currency that we know, either in the conventional parlance or even in the Sharia parlance. And that is also another issue that must be, we must take account of that one too before we say cryptocurrencies are just currencies and we just apply everything that applies to currencies to cryptocurrencies. It's not true. Issue number 3, that I premised my objection to calling cryptocurrencies as just mere currencies. This is the issue number 3. Limitation in quantity. We don't know that one in currencies as well. Nigeria cannot say, I'm going to produce so million or billions of naira. After that one, no more naira. Or US dollar will say, I'm just going to print so amount of $1 billion. After those billion, no more. Go and find what you will spend. But that is the case in cryptocurrency world. Satoshi Nakamoto, when he invented this Bitcoin cryptocurrency, he has already structured the technology that it can only accommodate 21 million Bitcoins. It can never exceed 21 million Bitcoins. We don't know how much they have reached now as I'm speaking with you, because as I told you, mining brings about a new coin every successive mining. So we cannot say every minute, we cannot say how much million has been created of Bitcoins. But the inventor, Nakamoto, has already done it that way, that when you reach that level of having 21 million Bitcoins in circulation, you can never create a new one. Now, what will happen then? We don't know. Now, today, there is possibility of having a new one. There's possibility of having a new one. Let's go back to the law of demand, law of supply and demand. There is possibility of more supply, even when there are more demands. But what will happen when there are no more supplies? A day will come that no single supply of Bitcoin will be possible. That will make the volatility that we are already contending with to become something that we cannot even think of. It will be unimaginable. It will be too phenomenal. I'm afraid a Bitcoin may cost $1 billion, $1 million, because there are no more new Bitcoins. You cannot create more. So those who have already possessed those 21 million, they will control the whole world by determining what will be the price. If we have all switched to cryptocurrencies, as it appears, this is the direction the whole world is going. So that should be a major concern too, that the inventor of cryptocurrency, Nakamoto, structured it in a way that Bitcoin, in a way that when it reaches 21 million coins, you cannot create a new one. So what is going to happen? It's going to have a very serious impact on the issue of high volatility that's already in contention in the Bitcoin world. So this is what I base my opinion on, in not agreeing totally with those respected jurists who believe that cryptocurrencies are just like any other currency. Now let's move to the other approach. Those who say cryptocurrency, dealing in them is halal because they are assets. Cryptocurrencies, Bitcoins are assets, buy and sell, if you follow the rule of commodity. This
Do we move to the next slide?
No, the same slide.
Okay.
B, the same slide. Still on my opinion. I've given my opinion on those who base their judgment on regarding it as currencies. I'm now talking about those who base their judgment on regarding it as assets.
As assets. Yes.
Now, this is also not without issues. There are issues in this also. Number one issue, I don't know of any asset from the Sharia perspective that will have no intrinsic value. I don't know of any. When we talk of asset in Sharia, it means it must have an intrinsic value. Now, how can you describe cryptocurrency as an asset? And again, you will agree that it has no intrinsic value. So that's also an issue that will not make some of us to agree totally that cryptocurrencies are mere assets. The issue number two, we claim, or they claim, that cryptocurrencies are assets, but today they have been widely used as currencies. And we know in Sharia, dealing in asset is not the same as dealing in currency. For example, according to Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawzi, that iconic, notable jurist of Islam, he said one of the differences between dealing in asset and in currency is that we are allowed to trade with currency, not to trade in currency. Whereas we are allowed to trade in asset, both in asset and with asset. You can trade in asset by using your asset in trade by barter to exchange with another asset. You can equally trade with asset and trade in asset, but that is not true of currency. We are only allowed to trade using our currency, not to transform the currency itself to become an object of transaction, and that will surely lead to riba. When people do not trade, do not engage in any economic activity, all what they rely on is that I will give you my money and you pay it back after so period, and you had so percentage. So it becomes dealing in pure currency. So with these two reasons, I do not also totally agree with those respectively, with due respect, those who claim that cryptocurrencies are mere assets. Now let's move to the other view, the next slide. The next slide. Cryptocurrency, dealing or trading in cryptos is haram. Why? They base their own view on the following reasons. One, they said it is haram to trade in the currency that has no intrinsic value. Two, the high volatility in cryptos will culminate in excessive uncertainty and high risk that is akin to gambling. Point number three, they said there is no link to real economy. Trading in cryptocurrency is just like a bubble waiting to burst anytime. Point number four, they said cryptos are used for illicit activities. This is a very important factor. They said we are declaring, especially those formal official iftar bodies, this is where they hanged their fatwa on mainly, that cryptos are being used to perpetrate crimes, and we have a duty to prevent crime in the society. Number five, ambiguity and anonymity, even in the identity of the inventor himself, as we said earlier on. Number six, cryptocurrencies are not issued, are not regulated by any government or constituted authority. So these are their arguments, these are the justifications or basis of saying that trading in cryptocurrencies is haram. Now to my own opinion, humble opinion. The next slide. my opinion. I humbly submit that what they have said, just as I reacted to the other side too, they are not to be taken for granted. They are not to be taken for granted. I will take them one after the other. They said, we don't allow trading in cryptocurrency because it's a currency that has no intrinsic value. Then we will have to prohibit dealing in dollars, in naira, in real, in pound sterling. They are all fiat money. They don't have any intrinsic value. So that will actually defeat the first point. It's not a good point to say that we don't allow trading because it has no intrinsic value. Other fiat currencies also do not have intrinsic value, and nobody has come to say trading in them is haram. Number two, the high volatility issue that they mentioned is a concern, really. Like I told you, how can something move from 0.06 11 years ago and become 55,000 today, and we don't know what will become tomorrow? Is a real concern. It must be a real concern. But my position on this is that this may not be peculiar to cryptocurrencies. When you look at countries that are ravaged by war today, go to Syria, for example. With due respect to our Syrian brothers, their currency has lost value drastically. That it was even a debate some times back in the Sharia circles that those who have debt obligation to settle in lira, that is their currency in Syria, that are so depreciated to about almost 1 million times or close to that, or hundreds of thousands or 1,000 times, even if it is 1,000 times. How will they settle those obligations? So what I'm saying in essence is that the issue of volatility is not peculiar. It may be very high in cryptocurrency, but volatility in the price and the rate of currencies is not peculiar to cryptocurrency. And as such, it cannot alone be sufficient for declaring trading in cryptocurrencies to be invalid, because this is not a peculiar thing. We will have to address that as a problem. The volatility is too high. How do we address it? But to take that volatility to be a ground for declaring it as being haram will take us to some other controversies, because as I said, other currencies may also suffer high volatility, even though at a lesser degree from what we witness in cryptocurrency. The third is that they don't have link with real economy. Yes, I agree with them. This should be a major source of concern for us too. Like in Nigeria, like I said, how can Nigeria become third, ranking third in the whole world when we don't have an economy that ranks third in the world? We have to pay attention to that one. It's not good for our economy. That people will just sleep and wake up, deal in cryptocurrency, not creating any economic value, not adding any economic value, not creating any economic activity. That's not good enough. But again, that is not sufficient for declaring something illegal from the Sharia perspective. We have to see those ones as problems and find ways of solving them. For example, in solving this issue of no link with real economy, what I propose is that if we allow cryptocurrency, we must disallow derivatives coming from this cryptocurrency. And this is a particular problem in the world today. It's very difficult to see people trading in cryptocurrencies without associated derivatives or derivatives markets, like options, like futures, like forward sales. If we are able to separate derivatives and speculation, for that matter, from the crypto market, then we cannot say because it has no link. Not having link with the economy is a problem that must be solved separately. So what I'm proposing here is that it's not sufficient for us to declare it illegal because of this element, but you have to look at a solution. And one of those solutions is to not allow people to deal in derivatives because they want to trade in cryptocurrency. I may need to explain to some of my audience, what do we mean by derivatives, options, futures? But I will just give one example for you to see clearly the danger in allowing too much derivatives in any market. The problem we had in 2008, 2009, the economic problem that we had then, the recession that followed it, was actually caused mainly because of wide use, very wide, unchecked use of derivatives. To the extent that it was estimated that derivatives market alone around 2009 or so accounted for about 600 trillion US dollars. Imagine $600 trillion. And when we look at the whole size of the world economy then, it was estimated at just about $60 trillion. We have 60 trillion real economy, and we have 540 fake economy. That's the implication. We are dealing in derivatives to the tune of $600 trillion, whereas the real economic activity was just put at $60 trillion. So this is an example of what we are talking of. It's not good to separate any trading activity from the real economic activity in any society. But again, as I said, that alone cannot be sufficient for declaring something illegal, but rather must be seen as a problem looking for a Sharia solution. Number 4, they said cryptos are used for illicit activities. That is very, very correct. That's very, very correct. In fact, it was proved that the first years, the first years of trading in cryptocurrency, they were known in black markets. Before people start showing interest, it was people people of the underworld that were using cryptos. That's very true. But the narrative has changed. The narrative has changed, and that is why that one alone cannot be sufficient as a ground of nullity, of invalidity. Because when criminals are using it, yes, but when non-criminals are not using it, we cannot maintain the same rule. We cannot maintain the same rule. And you see, in Sharia, we have a rule that says blocking the means, Saddu Dharia. But Saddu Dharia has its own parameters. You cannot say because A may lead to B, then I will disallow A because it may lead. You have to prove that it will certainly lead to B before it can be blocked in Sharia. So we cannot go into details of that one, but I think what I've said is sufficient for us to see that why I'm not agreeing with that point, that because cryptocurrencies are being used for illicit, illegal activities, yes, but the reality is that it is also being used for genuine, for legitimate economic or business activities. Number 5, the issue of ambiguity and anonymity. Yes, that's a very serious one. It's a very serious one. Even the inventor, we do not know who he was or who he is, whether he's still alive or not, whether he still holds certain amount or maybe majority of Bitcoin still under his control, that it will use to control the economy of the whole world one day. We can't say all this. But you see, we have to, that is what actually led me into going into details. I took my time to go into what is actually cryptocurrency before coming to talk about Sharia perspective, because I want to be sure I'm talking in the right perspective. You see, when we say ambiguity, anonymity is true. You can come to the crypto market with a fake name. Nobody will know you. But the reality of the matter is that if you look at that technology, all transactions in the world since inception till today, if you want to trace all transactions, who did what, how many Bitcoin was transferred to whom, even if someone has been using 100 fake names, the blockchain technology will allow us, if we want, to know that all these fake names, 100 fake names, actually belong to just one source. So the issue of ambiguity and anonymity, again, must be seen as a problem looking for a solution, and not as a sufficient ground of declaring the whole issue as being invalid or as being illegal. That is number 5. The last one, they said, we don't allow trading in cryptos because they are not regulated, they are not issued by a constituted authority. My answer to that one, I do not agree with this one too, just as a lot of researchers and scholars in the world are not agreeing, is the fact that in Sharia, there's nothing that says currency must be issued by a government. Yes, it's good if you have government issuing currencies. Do you know why? Because there are benefits attached to that. One, you will have a clear benchmark. It will be very clear. If Naira is issued and regulated by Central Bank of Nigeria, it will determine the flow. It will determine, it will even control, manage the inflation in the market. So it's good for a government to be the one issuing currency. One of the benefits of when you have a government issuing currencies is that it's a good mechanism for combating counterfeit and fake currencies, that you will have ways of knowing, oh, this is fake dollar, this is fake Naira. It's good. And it will boost the people's confidence. The wide acceptance will be there, otherwise known as Rawaj. But scholars have said hundreds of years ago, if you can guarantee all these benefits in a currency that is issued by a non-governmental entity, is allowed in Sharia. It's not a rule. It's not a must that government must be the one to issue. Government is issuing because there are a lot of benefit associated with that, but it's a matter of maslaha, public interest of all. If we can have another system that will equally give us clear benchmark, we have that one in crypto. Combat counterfeit, we have that one, at least to a very certain level in blockchain technology. I've told you, they were able to solve the problem of double spending using this same blockchain technology. And it is being widely accepted all over the world now. So you can see that those benefits can also be available even in a currency that is issued by a non-governmental entity. So I think with this, we are done with the first most important issue, trading in cryptocurrency, investing in cryptocurrency market. A minute, please. The next slide, please. The next one. Sharia issues in mining of cryptos. As I said, what concerns majority of my audience today, I know, is what I've just finished. They want to trade, they want to invest. I'm through with that one. I'm still coming to my conclusion and recommendation, but I've expressed clearly my own opinions and given the juristic opinions of other scholars as well. The second issue, like I told you, classification of my discussion of Sharia issues into 3. We are on the second one now, mining. This one affects a very small, insignificant percentage of people I know. Those who have the capacity of mining. There are very few in the world today because it requires, like I told you, it requires very sophisticated computers. It requires very high amount of electricity to be consumed. So not everyone will be able to come to the mining market. But Sharia is a way of life. It must have a say in everything. And that is why we must also take the issue of mining from the Sharia perspective. I've said in the beginning of this presentation that we have 2 processes, 2 ways of mining. Proof of work, POW, and proof of stake. As far as proof of work is concerned, it is 100% halal. As far as proof of work is concerned, it is halal based on the rule of Ja'ala. What do we call Ja'ala in Sharia? Ja'ala is closer to what people in the conventional law, particularly in the common law, what they call unilateral contracts. A unilateral contract is such a contract that an offer will be given to the whole world. You will give an offer not to a particular person, but to the whole world. And how would acceptance take place? Acceptance of the offer can only come in the form of performance of the conditions stated in the offer. For instance, if you say, I have lost my wristwatch, and whoever is able to bring it back to me, I don't know where I misplaced my wristwatch, for example, but I'm willing to pay $1,000 for anybody that is able to bring back my wristwatch. That's a unilateral contract in the common law, and it's the same concept in Sharia, known as ja'ala. It's an offer to the whole world. It's not an offer to a particular person, but to the whole world. And who will accept this offer? The acceptance can only come if somebody comes up now and says, this is your wristwatch, Professor Alaro. It means he has accepted my offer, and the contract will now be between me and him. The same thing goes with the rule of ja'ala. Ja'ala is a case where you will just give an offer to the whole world that who can do this, I will give him so. And if he successfully does it, you have to give him what you have promised. This is what we call ja'ala in Sharia, and the Sharia basis for that one is even in Al-Quran Al-Karim. In Surah Yusuf, chapter 12 of Al-Quran Al-Karim, Allah says, narrating the story of Yusuf and his brothers, قَالُوا نَفْقِدُ سُوَاعَ الْمَلِكِ وَلِمَنْ جَاءَ بِهِ حِمْلُ بَعِيرٍ وَأَنَا بِهِ زَعِيمٌ. وَلِمَنْ جَاءَ بِهِ حِمْلُ بَعِيرٍ وَأَنَا بِهِ زَعِيمٌ. That is the verse, that is the authority relied upon in Sharia to legalize unilateral contract or ja'ala. The meaning of this verse is that they announce in Egypt that we have lost the bowl or the golden cup of the king. We don't know, somebody stole it. But whoever is able to bring it back, to reproduce it from anywhere, to retrieve it from the thief, وَلِمَنْ جَاءَ بِهِ حِمْلُ بَعِيرٍ, his reward will be a full camel load of provision. So whoever brings the cup, the golden cup or bowl of the king back, will actually be entitled to the full camel load of provision. And that is halal for him. The same thing happens in the mining world, in cryptocurrency market. They will say, we have a new transaction, and to authenticate, to validate this transaction on our ledger, the digital ledger, the blockchain technology, these are the mathematical equations to be solved in algorithms. Then all of you, anybody that solves it will get a reward, and the reward will be a new Bitcoin. So it's perfectly in line with the rules of ja'ala or unilateral contract in Sharia. And that is why I said, as far as mining, using POW, proof of work, is concerned, is 100% halal. Now, what of POS? Can we say the same thing of POS, proof of stake? No. The issue with proof of stake, as I said earlier on when I was explaining those concepts, is that unlike in proof of work, your chance of being rewarded in proof of stake depends largely on the amount of money you have, on what you have staked in that coin that you want to mine. The higher the amount you have staked, the bigger, the brighter your chances of being the one who will be rewarded. That is why some scholars have reservations by saying this one looks like gambling. It's like those who are participating scholars, some jurists, prominent jurists in the world, are saying this is the reason why they are saying POS, that is proof of stake, as a way of mining cryptocurrency, is haram because it looks like a gambling exercise. But I have an objection to that one too. I have a different opinion. And this opinion was also expressed by Dr. Abdulbari Mishal that I mentioned a short while ago, who is the director of Islamic Economic Forum, to which I also belong. Our opinion is as simple as this, that look, the gambling that is haram in Sharia is very clear, is that when the reward is coming from the parties themselves, the two of us, we say you will bring 1,000, I will bring 1,000. If I win, I will take the whole 2,000. If you win, you take the whole 2,000. This is the gambling that is haram, totally haram. Whether we are 200, 400 or more. Just like in the telecom, in the telephone sector now, they will say call with so amount of money. And if all of you, hundreds of you use different amount of money to call, they will now package and take a portion of it to give to just one of you. That's gambling, it's haram. But that is not true when we consider critically, when we look in depth into what happens in the proof of stake process of mining. The reward is not coming from the parties themselves. The reward is coming from a third party. You stake money, but at the end of the day, Bitcoin does not belong to you. Bitcoin will come from a third party. And that is why, in our opinion, that if that is true, then we cannot say that POS or proof of stake mining process looks like a gambling exercise, and Allah knows best. But there's an issue that I have not concluded on up till now, because it is being claimed that in proof of stake mining, those who stake money, who contribute money as miners or as forgers, they also earn interest on that money. Because when they deposit money, they said they will pay them interest. If that is true, then it becomes haram, really. If that is true, then earning interest or paying interest is haram and can invalidate any associated contract or activity. So in summary, proof of work as a process is 100% halal. Proof of stake can only be halal if it is not, if no amount of interest is paid to the contributors or the miners or forgers. So that is just about that. Alhamdulillah, the issue of mining did not take much of our time. Let's move to the last one, Sharia issue in cryptos as means of payment. The next one, Mr. Moderator. Yes, as means of payment. This is also a very simple one. Like I told you, I'm not trading, you are not buying, you are not selling cryptos, but your university, an institution that you want to buy something, a company from, says, I will only collect crypto. I will only collect Bitcoin. I don't want any other currency. Can you go ahead and do? Yes, but you have to follow the rule. The rule of payment in Sharia, when you are paying for something, just a mere payment. One, the two rules are combined in a particular hadith. Let me just narrate that hadith. Let me read the hadith for you. That the Prophet ﷺ said, the translation of which is this, that every single human being will be asked 4 questions on the day of resurrection. Every single human being. And one of those, or 1 or 2 of those questions will be about his money. About his money. You will be asked 2 questions regarding your money. Where did you get the money from, and what did you spend the money for? These are the 2 rules that will govern our activities in relation to using cryptocurrencies, and in fact any other currency for that matter, as means of payment. We will look into how you procure your cryptocurrency. You hack into anonymous computer and you are able to steal from his wallet, e-wallet, if that is possible. Although in blockchain technology, like I said, it's difficult. It's almost impossible. But let us assume it is possible for people. They can hack into wallets if they cannot hack into the main protocol, the main blockchain technology. But you have your own wallet in where you store your own holdings of cryptos in. Some people may be able to hack into that and steal a lot of money from you. So that is the first rule. If you want to use crypto to buy something, it must not be from a haram source. You cannot hack into another man's wallet and steal, then use that one to buy and think that that's what you are doing is permitted. It's not. So that is the first rule. Allah will ask you, where did you get your money? Then the second rule, the second question is, what did you use the money for? That applies to using cryptos as means of exchange as well. When a casino or anything that is halal, a casino industry, a betting company says, if you want to bet, if you want to do this, you have to pay in crypto. And you go on to pay using crypto. That is a haram activity. Regardless of whether what we said about crypto, whether it is halal or haram, regardless of all that, if you have used your crypto to purchase what is illegal, what is not permissible in Sharia, then the whole exercise becomes illegal, becomes haram from the Sharia perspective. So these are the two major rules that must actually govern the issue of using crypto as means of payment. And of course, we must add this, any cryptocurrency that you are using to purchase must enjoy wide acceptance or wide, as we said earlier on. It cannot be something that will only be acceptable to a number of you, that when you want to take advantage of his money later, they will say we don't accept it. If a currency does not enjoy wide acceptance, then it cannot be used for even as a means of payment. Now to the conclusion. Alhamdulillah. Conclusion and recommendations. Let's go there, the next slide. Conclusion and recommendations. 1, the original or default rule in commercial transactions in Sharia is that of permissibility. Al-aslu fil ashiya al-ibaha. And this must be at the back of our mind. Any new thing, our approach to it, whether it is currency or not currency, any new thing in Sharia, the default rule is that this is permitted. That is the original rule. Cryptocurrency falls in that category of a new invention that we were not used to before. So originally, we must see it as something that is permissible. That's what Sharia says. That's the beauty of Sharia when it comes to commercial transactions. It's different from the rules guiding the rules of ibadah, worshiping Almighty Allah. It's the opposite. You don't do until you have a proof that you must do. That is in worshiping, in the act of ibadah. But in contract, in commercial transactions, the opposite is the case. It is originally halal until when you do something that makes it haram. I want that one to be noted. Our approach to issues in Sharia, in commercial law in Sharia, is that original or default rule is that of permissibility. But that permissibility may be removed, may be taken away if you perpetrate something that will now render the activity or the contract as becoming illegal or invalid. Number 2, most of the concerns raised about cryptos do not affect the technology itself. That's my conclusion. And based on what I've enumerated, what I've explained in the course of this lecture, you will see clearly that most of the concerns being raised, they are not targeted at the concept, neither are they targeted at the technology, neither are they targeted at the protocols producing Bitcoins or other cryptocurrencies. But essentially, those concerns revolve around how and what cryptos are used, how and for what cryptos are used. And this is the pivotal issue that must actually guide our utterances, our pronouncement, whether it is halal or haram. We cannot close our eyes to the fact that cryptos are being used for illegal activities and say, no, it's a currency, it must be allowed. That is not Sharia. At the same time, we must not say that because 1, 2, 3 people are using it for illegal activities, then it becomes illegal for those who want to use it for legal activities. Sharia does not operate that way. So we have to bear at the back of our mind that the original rule is that of permissibility, but the permissibility may be taken away depending on how and what cryptos are used for. And this is what will take me into discussing briefly the rule of shadow dharia, blocking the means. Majority of fatwas pronouncing trading in cryptos as being haram was based on the rule of shadow dharia, that they will use it to perform this. It may cause this to happen. So this is the rule of shadow dharia. But again, is a common knowledge in Sharia that we do not block every means. We do not block every means. Means are there as facilities from Almighty Allah. But how do we, why do we, when do we block a means? It's only when that means will certainly or mainly lead to an illegal end. I will come again on that one. Blocking the means does not mean if you suspect, mere suspicion, you go and block the means. No, that's not Sharia. Sharia, we have a rule that says there must be quwwatu tuhma, quwwatu at-tuhma. The suspicion must be real. The suspicion must be very strong. This currency either certainly or mainly is going to be used for illegal activity. Then we can block the means by pronouncing it originally to be haram, because it will either mainly or certainly lead to an illegal end. Also, one of those rules that you must bear in mind, whoever is in the position of pronouncing on the status of cryptos in Islam, we must bear in mind the rule of maslaha and mafsada is a rule of Sharia. That is, we always weigh, especially when we don't have clear-cut Sharia injunctions. Like in this case, we don't have any ayah or hadith to say crypto is halal or haram. So we resort to other mechanisms. One of those mechanisms is to weigh between the benefits and harms involved, embedded in the activities surrounding crypto markets and crypto trading. We have to look, every country will have to look at the benefits and harms. Then the Sharia says, if you have more benefit, you say it is halal. If you have more harms, you don't hesitate to declare it as being haram. And even when it can be both, it can bring benefit, it may cause harm. Sharia says you give priority to prevention of harm before realization of benefit. So this should be a parameter that anybody that is considering, that is pronouncing on the status of crypto must also take account of. Governments and monetary authorities, this is now a recommendation. Government and monetary authorities are therefore advised to critically look into the pros and cons of cryptocurrencies and thereafter take a decision as to, 1, whether to allow it, 2, whether to disallow it. A third option may be to introduce some levels of regulation to crypto-related activities. In Malaysia today, for example, even though they have not pronounced on whether it is halal or haram, but they have a position that, look, if you want to trade in crypto, your platform, your exchange, like a market for trading, must be registered. We must know you. Those of you that are dealing, the platform that we are using must not be anonymous. This is a level of regulation that could be a third option for a country that does not want to disallow. Based on what I've said, Saddu Dharia must be considered. Al-Maslaha, Al-Mafsada, weighing between harms and benefit must be considered. Then they take an option. Is either to disallow, is either to allow, or to allow, but with certain regulations like what they are doing presently in Malaysia. Another recommendation: excessive trading in crypto without creating any real economic activity is not healthy for a nation's economy. I'm directing this particularly to my country, Nigeria. We need to sit down. We need to analyze, why are we coming third in terms of trading volumes? We do not have an economy that matches that, what is happening. Because for people to now focus on trading in what will not lead to creation of real economic activity is not good for any nation, for economy of any nation for that matter. And for this, I will quote Ibn al-Qayyim once again, that iconic jurist of Islam once again, who says, money is never sought for itself. Rather, it is used as a means to gain commodities. When money begins to be treated as a commodity and becomes the objective of transactions, the entire economic system gets corrupted and will be in crisis. This is coming from I'lam al-Muwakki'in al-Rabb al-Alamin by Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawzi, volume 2, page 105. And finally, I've advised government, I've advised monetary authorities, regulators. Let me also advise individuals, listeners to me at this moment. You must exercise caution if you must trade in cryptos. That's the rule. That's the truth. You must exercise caution. It's a very risky venture. It may plunge you into sudden and devastating level of poverty. Let me say it practically. Losing one single Bitcoin means one Bitcoin. If you lose one Bitcoin, means you are losing 55,000 US dollars today. And in Naira, it means more than 26 million Naira in just the blinking, in just the twinkle of an eye. Within the twinkle of an eye, you can just lose 26 million Naira for losing just one Bitcoin. If you lose two, you know how much it will become. If you lose 3 Bitcoin, so it's a very risky venture that you must exercise caution if you must trade in cryptos. It's a very risky one, and caution must be exercised. And finally, thanks for listening. The next slide, I have something there too that I want all my audience to read. The next one. Slide 25, please. Can you see it? Can you also? I want them to see it. Can you see it all?
Yes, we can see it.
Thanks for listening. And don't forget that your Bitcoin is zakatable anyway. That is, regardless of all what we have said, if you are still in that business, don't forget to pay your zakat. Whether it is an asset, whether it is regarded as an asset, whether it is regarded as a currency, crypto is zakatable. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make what we have done today beneficial to us all in this life and the next life, and to let Muslims in particular, because I'm talking to an audience of Muslims principally from the Islamic perspective. May Almighty Allah continue to empower and strengthen the Muslim Ummah. Why I've gone this length of analyzing, of taking my time to tell you all the size, is the fact that crypto market is a very huge market. Capitalization today is $1 trillion. Already, we know Muslims are being, the war against Muslims is being fought in many cases using economic weapon against us. If we can derive a benefit from crypto world, we must not close our eyes. That is my intention. But that should not be a license for us to be careless, to be reckless, not looking at what is halal and what is haram because we want to derive a benefit from the crypto market. But it's a market that's very huge that we cannot just simply close our eyes and pretend as if we do not know that there is a lot of money out there and people are gaining millions of Naira almost every day. But at the same time, as Muslims, we must know that anything that we do must be in line with the dictates of Sharia. Almighty Allah make all that one easy for us. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.
Naam, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. We thank the professor for that beautiful presentation, and we hope he has dealt with the topic academically. And my fear is that the presentation is not presented in such a way that we can say yes or no, but it has dealt with topic in such a way that he has examined the technological involvement in the technology of a cryptocurrency itself, And not only that, he began with definitions of terms and terminologies for us to know exactly what it is, and also referred to historical emergence of a cryptocurrency. And again, he was like trying to let us understand that the technology itself is not haram, or is not bad in itself. But the question is, what are the means, or what you want to use the technology to achieve? What do you want to trade? And what is the source of the money or the resources you want to use to trade? And that is when he was trying to look into the intrinsic definition, volatility definition, economic linkage of cryptocurrency, and illicit activities has been referenced by some scholars in the face of Sharia, and again, the ambiguity and the authority or permission or legal backing of cryptocurrency from different countries, and the trend in the modern world market and technology. And again, he was trying to link us to what the Sharia issue as regards the mining and means of payment of payment by using cryptocurrency in such a way that what is the means with which you want to pay for whatever transaction, and what is the transaction you want to pay for. And he went ahead to discuss the benefit and the harms in the light of what makes it halal and what makes it haram. And he concluded by giving different advisory opinions to government to look into the pros and cons of cryptocurrency, the decision to be made by making it halal, legal or illegal, with reference to the transaction using cryptocurrency, the appropriate regulation and sanitation to be put in place, and also what is the economic base with which we have to look deeply into cryptocurrency, especially the emergent world market advancement and evolvement. So on this, we have to open the floor for concern and question and answer section, and this is going to take us around maybe 30 minutes from the schedule that we're having here.
Sorry,
and
Mr.
again,
Moderator. Sorry for interruption.
Okay.
Sorry, I have a meeting starting at exactly 1:30.
Okay.
And I must observe my Zohr before that meeting. So I will suggest that we take a maximum of 10 minutes.
Okay.
Or minimum of 5. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. So we have heard what the Prof recommended. Let us minimize or trying to summarize our questions. And if the lecture can take care of our questions, we promise you to share the recorded version of the lecture, inshallah, Allah permits. So, but let us try to see how to summarize our question. Let us just signify by raising our hand using the icon under our Zoom. You see an icon that says reactions. When you look at the reaction, then you can just click, you can raise your hand, then you can be given a number. So it's like when Prof was talking about the permissibility.
We have several hands raised up now.
Some hands are already in a hop, maybe inadvertently. Maybe all hands have to be down first, so as not to be confused. I have seen some hand hop even before the time for section and answer. So let all hands be down. Allah Itamza, put down your hands. Anusilafiaji, your hand down, please. Let all the hands down first. Thank you. Thank you. Now you can read. Please, all hands. Okay, now we can raise our hands.
Okay, so the first hand that is up is.
I think we cannot manage these hands. A lot of hands are up. What I have to just do, maybe I have to do. I don't know anybody by name.
Maybe we can type our questions in the chat.
Okay, better. Yes. Let us use the chat.
Our questions. Yes,
to type our questions. Maybe some of the questions are the same. Yes. So you can easily just merge it together and ask at once. Please let us do that in 2 minutes. Type your question in the chat room. Then from there we can take it up. like somebody was saying that is the issue of the cryptocurrency is like somebody asking in Nigeria that is it good for a Muslim to have an hotel? You know, it's a kind of a question that somebody who has never been to another place might look the hotel as a place, oh, how can a Muslim have an hotel? But you'll be surprised that you come to Saudi Arabia here, you're going to sleep in a hotel all throughout your Umrah. So, but which type of hotel? That is why sometimes the location and where we have could define what the scholar will legislate as regards the permissibility or impermissibility of a particular matter.
So in the chat box, many of the comments are saying that, okay, can we get you can get the recording of this once we complete. If we have any questions, just type it out. I'm seeing a lot of things in the chat. There's no direct.
I think maybe Ibrahim Hussein can manage that.
Yes, there's no direct question yet.
Okay, no technical questions.
No technical question related to Islamic law.
But can I buy cryptocurrency with the intention of selling it in future? Of course, answered.
And that is my
maybe
impression.
Perhaps he has to answer this.
Most of the questions,
maybe the prof have to
in the of the presentation.
Yes, most of the questions are dealt with in the presentation.
Okay.
Okay, except paying zakat on crypto.
Yeah, that was the last statement I made.
That was the last statement. So is the zakat going to also be paid in crypto, or is it going to be paid in other currency?
Yeah, I think he answered that.
That's a good one. Let's begin with that one.
Yes.
If you have your crypto and you want to pay zakat on it, first and foremost, you must know that zakat is payable from the same form of money out of which you are to pay zakat. If it is Bitcoin, it's 2.5% of your Bitcoin holdings. Since cryptocurrencies, alhamdulillah, they are not physical currencies. They are virtual currencies. They can only be translated into its equivalent in another currency. Now, for example, if you hold just one currency, one Bitcoin, it means you have 55,000 US dollars. It means in Naira, you have more than 26 million Naira. So in your currency, just calculate 2.5 of what you hold and pay zakat with that one. Simple. Not necessarily with Bitcoin.
Okay, a follow-up quickly to that. Someone posted, can we pay zakat on something that is haram?
No, because that requires a long answer, but let me say it in summary. In Sharia, zakah is only payable on what you own. It's only payable on what you own. And illegal money, you don't own it in Sharia. You are only holding it for somebody else. If you don't release it in this world, it will be taken in an alternative way from you on the day of resurrection. So it's in your best interest to get rid of haram money or illegal money at your disposal. But that is what informed the position of jurists on payment of zakat on haram money, because haram money does not belong to you, and you only pay zakat based on what you own.
A follow-up question to that. A number of people have said that they've learned from other lectures that forex trading itself is haram.
I've answered that question. Yes, forex trading as a rule. Yes. I recited the hadith of Ibadah. Simply, there are two rules. If it is the same currency, then there are two rules. It must be exchanged at par, and it must be on the spot. But if you are changing a different currencies with one another, then there is one rule to be followed, and that is the rule of on the spot. You can exchange a naira, a dollar to 500 or to 300, a real to 100, based on your agreement, but it must be on the spot. You give the counterpart money, and the counter value is also received instantly.
Follow up to that, sir. Compare that with stock trading.
Stock trading means buying and selling of shares. Yes. This one also requires a long answer, Because when we talk of shares, Sharia will ask you a question. Which shares? Shares of which company? So if shares, if a company is producing what is illegal, haram, a brewery, for example, you cannot buy the shares of a brewery, and you cannot even trade in shares of a brewery at the capital market. So it all depends on what the shares represent. Shares are mere representations of assets. We will look into that asset that is being represented by your shares, and that will largely determine the status, whether it is halal or haram.
Okay, another question here, sir. I said, can Prof kindly clarify speculative trading and hoarding as it deals with cryptocurrency trading? That the reason maybe they are holding on to the crypto is to sell it later. Is that one allowed?
You see, the rule of hoarding in Sharia, we need to understand this. According to Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib, rahimahullah, is the one who narrated that hadith, that the Prophet ﷺ said, "La yahtakiru illa khatu." No one will hoard commodities except someone who is in a plain error. Is in a plain error. Is another way of saying it is sinful to hoard. But what do we mean by hoarding that is prohibited in Sharia? This is where some people are mixing things up. Hoarding is prohibited because of what it leads to in terms of injury, in terms of harm on the society. If a good example, a practical example in the Nigerian context, a filling station that has in stock hundreds or thousands of liters of petroleum product, because he speculates that tomorrow the government will increase or the price will go up, he already has in stock, he doesn't lose anything. He bought at 140, selling at 160 per liter. But because he is speculating that, oh, it's going to be 200, it's going to be 300, and closes the station, claiming that there's nothing in stock. I don't have. That is hoarding that is prohibited because it is deliberately causing harm and injury to the society. But from another perspective, we have something that is in abundance in the society. For example, this is a period of mango or any fruit for that matter. I can decide that, oh, people have them in abundance in the market. So if I don't sell mine, nobody is hurt. Nobody is being harmed. If I choose not to sell mine, that I will wait for some time for the price to appreciate, then I will sell. I'm not causing any harm to the society. That is not the kind of hoarding that is disallowed. Based on this one, you have to look.
They said, can we buy that crypto with the intention of selling in future?
That is what I've said. If your intention of selling in future does not lead to any harm, it's not that people are badly in need of cryptos, then you hold your own that if they don't see, I will tell them my price and they must pay. Like the typical example of a filling station that I told you of. But to be honest, hoarding, buying crypto with the intention of selling tomorrow is not the type of hoarding that is haram in Sharia. Because crypto is not it's not desperately, nobody is desperately in need of crypto to survive. Are you getting me?
We are getting you, sir.
So that is the difference.
A lot of people have asked, can they get the recording, which we can do? Can they get the slides? Can those slides be shared?
Well, I've already sent the slide to one of you, Brother Demola, I think. Yes. Maybe you are only asking for my authority to share.
Yes, so sir, the authority to share. Yes.
The permission is given.
Thank you, sir. Let me see any more questions.
Yeah, somebody is saying that is trying to develop Islamic compliant cryptocurrency. Is seeking your opinion to meet you and to discuss some of the things with you personally.
I'm more than ready to do that. Let him have my number from Brother Demola.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, they have said that you are close to CBN. You are doing several things with CBN. Can you give us an insight how they are thinking? What advice? What direction are they going to take in terms of scripting?
Well, my mandate with CBN is limited. I'm advising CBN on non-interest banking or Islamic banking. It's only when crypto comes to be traded by Islamic banks that CBN will seek my advice. But outside that, I cannot talk on behalf of CBN.
Okay, I have a question on insurance. I don't know if it can, which I think can be beneficial to the Ummah.
And that should be the last question, inshallah.
Yes, the question is, because I can see in your profile, you have a link with the Nigeria Insurance.
I'm equally an advisor to the Nigeria Insurance Commission, also on Islamic insurance.
So on insurance, I don't think we Muslims don't have any info on the aspect that will be useful to the Ummah. So I think if you can actually share those information with us here, the opportunities are open for Muslims and how we can actually access it. It should be very, very good.
Okay, thank you very much. Opportunities for Muslims in this regard. One, the federal government of Nigeria has accepted and has accommodated the practice of Islamic insurance in Nigeria. Meaning that as a Muslim, if you had wanted to go into insurance business, but what is actually preventing you from so doing is because you know as a Muslim that conventional insurance is prohibited, then you have a good opportunity of floating your company that will practice Islamic insurance and you get licensed like any other insurance company. Still in the same vein, we have in Nigeria today about almost 6 companies that have been licensed by the government to practice Islamic insurance. All these companies are in need of human resources. They are in need of brokers. They are in need of advisors. They are in need of managers. So those are opportunities that abound for Muslims that they can key into if you have the qualification of so doing.
Alhamdulillah. I think that was the last question, as you said. Dr. Maruf?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we really appreciate our professor for his time and for the intellectual gifts that he has endowed us